Staff, I understand that we have an addition to the agenda.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have a closed session item C, real property negotiations with Progress Rail. And this came up subsequent to the posting of the agenda.
And there is a need.
Yes.
All right.
Make a motion to approve the agenda with changes?
Second. We have a motion second by Directors Parker and Deaver. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Being none, motion passes. The agenda is adopted. Are there any community announcements? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. We had a very exciting weekend here at Mojave Air and Spaceport last weekend with the Mojave Experimental Fly-In. Not conducted by Elliot Sigwin this year. The Mojave Transportation Museum tried to take it over with a few volunteers, and actually it turned out pretty good in spite of everything. Friday was a little light, and it's too bad, but 2 airplanes showed up for the flower bombing, and unfortunately we had a group come from Bakersfield, and they're sitting there and they're saying, "Where's the bombs?" You know, well, they were 2-pound flour sacks and they were out there. Well, we wanted them right in front of us. Well, safety first.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
So anyway, but 2 home-built airplanes came, and pretty neat story on one of them. Todd Erickson brought his 12-year-old son Micah as the bombardier in his 1981 home-built Stitz SA-3B. Now, I had never seen it before. It's a low-wing aircraft that has struts on it. But Todd said he soloed in that airplane when he was 16, and he helped his daddy build it. Well, that's significant. Well, then when his oldest son got to be 16, he soloed in that airplane. So now Micah is chomping at the bit. He's only 12, but he wants to solo in Dad's airplane. And I think that's really what general aviation is all about, is planting those seeds. And so I loved that story. I thought it was wonderful. The other airplane that participated was Craig, let's see, what's his name? Craig, oh dear. He brought a sling, it's called. And it's, again, another low-wing airplane. Very pretty aircraft. And I can't tell you who won because we only saw one flower bag go poof. and I think
The rest
Scott,
of the wing.
yeah, the rest was on the wing probably. Let me get Craig's last name for you. It's Spearco, and he, as his bombardier, was Chuck Coleman, so world famous aerobatic pilot. But then the Friday night indoor fly-in was absolutely fabulous, and Karina and Todd brought their little ones to that, and there were little ones just barely walking, and they were so excited to see these airplanes. And Steve Rushford with the Mojave Transportation Museum was helping kids build airplanes, balsa wood and tissue paper. I don't know if any of you did that, but you know, using the straight pins and the glue. But that exciting moment after you build your airplane and you take it out and you fly it, and their eyes get so big, it's just, it works. And I think that that's the same feeling these guys get when they build their home-built airplanes and they fly it for the first time. Oh my God, it really works. And it's a thrill. It's just a thrill. And so it's wonderful to have that spirit here at Mojave Air and Spaceport, I think. I've watched it for years and years, but as these young engineers that scaled the spaceship company, and even Scott Glazier down at Flight Research, they all know that feeling. And they had it when they were 4 or 6 or 12 or whatever the age. And, you know, Burt Rattan had it. He built models when he was that age. And his mom would support him and say, "Oh yeah, we can tow that behind the car." And she did. And that's, moms are really important for that sort of thing. Friday night was a huge success. Saturday was outstanding. I got here and I couldn't believe the ramp was just full of the most gorgeous airplanes I've ever seen.
The radio sounded like the Berlin Airways.
Yeah, poor Carl was very busy in the tower. They were, I guess Joshua was stacking them up in orbit somewhere, and then Carl was bringing them in to land. Yeah, yeah. So it was a beautiful time, and Ryan Johnson from Van's RV flew down from Oregon, and Rob Heap works for them now. He used to work at Scaled, but he came down in an RV-10, and the ramp was full of Van's RVs. And he looked over and he says, "What's that Long Easy doing here?" I said, "Well, they kind of were born here, so they have a right to be here too." But it was a great day, and the banquet was wonderful. We gave out awards, and the best overall award and the best, it's not modification, what did they call it? There was best design, best build, best test, best effort, and best overall. And Mike Patey, who the owner pilot of Turbulence, which is a magnificent legacy that's powered with a PT6, he walked away with two trophies. I mean, it's highly modified, so he got best overall and best design. But he, I don't know that he was trying to show off, but the crowd went nuts because he saw a parking place, but he had passed the row. So he's taxiing along, and he just puts that prop in reverse and just backs up. And they whooped and hollered and carried on. That was really cute. And then he taxied in, and before the prop had even stopped, about 50 guys are gathered around, and he's talking as he's climbing out of the canopy, and they're asking questions. He talked for about 45 minutes. We've got to get him to come back. He flew down from Utah simply because Zach Reeder called him and said, "We need you here at the Mojave Experimental Fly-In, and we need that beautiful airplane." And he said, "Oh, yeah, no problem." And so, you know, websites are wonderful, and Facebook's great, and all this social media is, but nothing beats picking up the phone and asking somebody personally, "I need you. I need you. Will you come?" Yes, yes. The minute you say that, they say yes. So it was a grand day, and the awards banquet was really, really spectacular. I won't take up any more time. I got so excited just writing the after action report, and I'll leave a couple of copies here. But next month we have, I think, kind of a fun Plane Crazy Saturday. It's going to be planes, trains, and Model A's. And Mike Massey's going to talk about the steam trains in Zimbabwe. And they're the
Meyer Garrett.
Bayer.
Yeah.
B. Okay. They're articulating steam engines. And
Totally unique anywhere in the world,
yeah.
only in Africa.
And it's a different gauge railroad from ours. But anyway, Mike's a fabulous.
Any other community announcements? Being none, we move to item 3, consent agenda. Is there any public comment on the consent agenda? If not, Chair will entertain a motion. Motion to approve by Directors Valentine and Deaver. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Being none, motion passes. Item 4A, staff report, please.
We have a lease agreement with Chris Gomez for hangar 942, and some of these larger hangars, some folks are asking to double up, and I actually want to encourage that because there's a lot of dead space in these bigger hangars, 1,600 to 2,000 square footers for the small airplanes. So it reduces the overall cost per pilot and gets more pilots hangar space. So what he's proposing is to sublease part of the hangar to Philip Graza, who's actually a longtime tenant. He's just moving out of one of the smaller hangars to double up here. So my recommendation is to approve the sublease with Philip Graza for hangar 942.
Any questions from the board?
Most approved.
Any public comment? Motion approved by Directors Valentine and Allred. If there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Being none, motion passes. 4B, please.
So LAFCO is, they've got a couple of folks on the ballot, and I don't know if the board is familiar with any of
I
these?
know Karen Sanders.
I know Karen.
Okay.
I know Russell.
She's okay.
Oh, yeah, Karen's
She's a
good.
good person.
Okay. But
Like a
this is
funny
really up to
story
the
about
board
it.
to determine if you want to vote on any of the individuals. Is it one, Lynn? Yes. Okay.
I move we support Karen Sanders,
Is there any public comment?
What's the position again?
LAFCO, Local Agency Formation Commission.
Okay. And that's Karen Sanders from Cal City OHV program? Okay.
All right, if there's no public comment, we have a motion by Director Deaver for a vote for Karen Sanders. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Allred. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Being nothing, Karen it is.
All right.
4C, please.
We've got a lot of equipment in the fire department that needs to be replaced, and we feel like this is a good time to do it. We've got room in the budget under equipment that we kind of reserved for various pieces of equipment, and we consider this the highest priority right now. We've got a couple of new sets of eyes in the fire department with hiring Benny and Justin lately. So they've kind of gone through and done a complete audit of all of the equipment in the fire department, and making a recommendation that we replace a lot of our equipment that's outdated and not all of it's in compliance anymore. So we've gone out to bid, and this was the least expensive option, right? $79,986 to replace all of this equipment. And just so the board's aware, we intend to also make a request to replace a lot of their
Turnouts?
yeah, their turnouts, there you go. But we'll probably do that at a later date, because those are still, it's not as critical as this, but this is really a critical purchase at this time.
Is there any public comment? I have a question. I have two questions. One, on here, the way I'm reading, the lowest bid is All Hazard Safety Associates, unless it's not an apples to apples.
That doesn't have the taxes on it.
Do we
On the
have to pay the
Okay, no
tax? Is there a
taxes. I guess I didn't catch
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, the quote didn't
Being a
have
tax guy, I should have caught that. Shame on me. All right, and then, why are you laughing? And then, my next question is, I saw that we're replacing outdated things. That causes me concern. So our firefighters have had equipment that was outdated. I'm curious as to who's responsible to make certain that the people that we're putting in harm's way intentionally, when something occurs, that they have the necessary safety equipment that's needed and is adequate and is current. So this is, I think, a very big deal. So I would like to know what our process is and what we're gonna do so this doesn't happen in the future.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right about that, and John and I have had lengthy discussions about this as well, and when Benny and Justin went through the audit, there were a lot of, there was a lot of equipment that was just kind of what we were used to getting for such a long time, and it's still on the market, it's just not necessarily what's recommended anymore. Some of it was completely obsolete. John, do you want to chime in?
So currently we have 8 bottles that are due to expire. And those 8 bottles will expire within the next few months. Everything else that we have is currently expired. So we have the 8 bottles that we need to currently outfit our personnel. But after that, we're coming up on a high time on just about everything. Most of the equipment lasts 10 to 15 years, and that's where we're at now, right at about the 14.5-year mark.
So there's new materials that they're even using to build this
I saw
equipment?
something like Kevlar. Like, are they gonna be taking bullets?
I like their air tanks,
Well,
I think now are carbon
explosions.
fiber.
Carbon
instead of
fiber,
aluminum.
yeah.
Instead of aluminum, they're lighter, they're more
Got it.
robust.
So who's gonna be taxed and have this responsibility in the future?
So Joe uses now the fire chief. Rich retired in February,
Right.
and Joe's tasked his team with going through and auditing all of the gear and all the equipment in there. Ultimately, these guys report up to John, but Joe with the 2 new full-timers are really responsible for making sure all the equipment in there.
So are we gonna audit this 14.5 years from now? Are we gonna audit quarterly, yearly, every 6 months?
Yeah.
No, sir, everything will be audited at least annually because there are annual inspections that are required.
Okay. There are annual inspections that are required.
Yes, sir.
So have we been conducting the annual inspections as required?
I'm happy to provide further information, but since this falls under safety security, information, I can provide that at a later time at your choosing.
Well, let's put it on the agenda, because I want to hear all the details.
Yes, sir.
This is a very serious safety situation, if you ask me. So, next agenda, please.
Okay, does the board want to take action?
Any further,
this time?
any further questions from the board?
I move to approve as a former OSHA executive.
Okay, motion by Mr. Deaver, second by Mr. Allred. Is there any further discussion from the board? Being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 5A.
I want to go back one agenda item if possible. So Carrie just brought this to my attention. So on the previous item, B, action item B for the LAFCO ballot, apparently they're also asking for the board to vote to continue to receive the election notices by certified mail. Is that true? Okay. Is that something the board wants to be more specific on with that vote?
We get
Whatever
these
works
things
for
all
you,
over.
yes.
And that's what we recommend was the certified mail.
Move to approve as you guys want it.
Okay,
Second.
okay. Okay.
If you do it, we're not gonna say anything, so you have the power.
Okay, excellent. So we'll turn it over to Carrie for financial reports.
These financial reports are for month ending March 31st, 2018. The bank balance has a $25,000 increase. And as you review the reports on the revenue and expenses, they were down this month, and that's just primarily to fuel sales being down for March. So they kind of offset themselves as far as we weren't purchasing as much fuel. We are wrapping up, or we're starting to wind down to the end of the year, and the auditors are scheduled to come out in June for their initial visit. So, and then we'll go into, there's another visit in August. So, but they are on the schedule, and we're working with them right now. And on the AR aging report, we did receive a payment from Maston to cover 1 month of their rent. So they do still have $1,400 in over 90 days. But they are working on getting us additional payments. And then on the Elevation Fitness, you'll probably hear their information in the presentation, but the report is attached through March.
Well, if they came here to present and they don't have that information, then we have a problem, don't we? All right.
I'll make a quick note on the membership number. So if you'll notice that under total income, the actual income went up for March, even though the membership went down, and that's strictly due to an audit that they went through in their software program. A lot of the members from Incotech from a previous corporate arrangement were no longer active members. They just sat in the system. So the system was purged with a lot of those folks, about 100 or so people, but it didn't affect the income. If that makes sense. And then, are you done with the financial report? So on the CEO report,
Wait, hang on. Thank you.
sorry.
CEO report, I'm just messing with you. 5B.
So there's not a lot really to discuss, other than handing it over to Angela in a moment for the elevation presentation. There's one thing that I just wanted to note. So the 66th Assembly District is kind of undergoing a commercial space opportunity assessment, I suppose, for the state of California. And they've asked me to participate in this hearing that's going to be in Sacramento, May 9th.
The 66th Assembly?
66th Assembly District is Maritucci, and it's Southern California. It's not actually SpaceX's district, it's Northrop Grumman. So Northrop Grumman is the one that's really driving a lot of this
Where
right
is
now.
it?
Where?
Yeah.
This is
I'll have to-
In other words, the assemblyman is the person who's doing this, right?
Correct,
Okay.
yes. They're just kind of looking at the opportunity overall for the state and bringing in various organizations that are involved in the commercial space industry. One of the panels that they have is infrastructure, necessary infrastructure to support the industry, which is something that we're, really in the thick of right now with what we'll need going forward.
Is he a committee chair?
I don't know.
Well, normally that's the kind of people that do stuff like that.
I believe he is. I'll need to do a little bit more homework on him. I just got this late last week, so, but when I was up in Sacramento last time, I actually met with his staff, because this was just being discussed at the time, But that's where I learned that it's really Northrop Grumman that was kind of inspiring him to get something going within Sacramento. So, just a quick note on that. I'll definitely keep the board updated on progress there. And a couple other notes on the fly-in. So thank you very much, Kathy, for all the work that you do
Thank you.
for the airport in general.
I'm sorry, I didn't thank Mojave Air and Spaceport for all of their efforts and your crew, and thank you, board, for lowering the fuel prices. I saw a lot of airplanes at the fuel pump.
So I was going to
And the
mention that.
gas guy was really busy.
Yeah, so we actually had to bring in a second fueler on Saturday. We sold just over 600 gallons, is that right, Harold?
Yes.
Of avgas. John was out there parking airplanes like a madman, so our staff was very busy. It was a great event. I think Carl counted 355 operations.
Yeah.
I don't know how many airplanes of the 355, but pretty close to that number.
They were coming and leaving and
Yeah.
all day,
Mhm.
you know.
So it's great. It was a great event, very well attended. So that's all I really wanted to touch on, unless there's anything more specific the board wants to discuss.
I have nothing, if the board members have nothing.
I'd like to turn it over to Angela, introduce Angela from Elevation Fitness. So,
Time is yours.
Thank you.
and Angela's going to kind of give an overview of where we've been for the past year and where we'd like to go.
So again, thank you for having me. And Elevation Corporate Health is the company that is on site managing the facility, the fitness center, and providing an amenity to employees in the community. You can go ahead and move forward. I'm just going to recap what happened in 2017. And I just want to start with what the partnership currently looks like. So Elevation is doing kind of the soft shell of the facility. We provide the staff. We have 2 full-time staff. We staff the hours from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. We did start free group fitness classes. We provided a new check-in system that allows us to understand why people are in the facility. We've reached out with wellness programming that you'll see in this slide, and just strengthening relationships at the airport and the community. Mojave Air and Space is providing us the security. We did get a group fitness space, some new equipment and signage, and you continue to maintain and provide the utilities of the center. In 2018, we did expand some of the services that are happening from the fitness center. We believe that we've reached out to the community and to Mojave clients, and we have provided community events along with a grand opening and a 1-year anniversary that I'll recap quickly. We do see ourselves as a benefit to the airport and to the employees that utilize the facility. We do continue to grow the membership. It was a slower start than we expected, but the last 2 months have been very great, and we continue the membership to increase, and we're expanding on the wellness programs. So this is just all of the wellness programs that were offered this past year. These are programs that anyone can attend. Mostly members are the ones that attend our wellness programs, mainly because we are marketing them within the fitness center. We did provide programming 186 days of the year, and we had 243 participants out of all of the programs. I did note and threw this in at the last minute because our group fitness classes had a slow start, but just this past week we have been getting about 8 to 10 people in our group fitness classes, and we attest that to the 1-year anniversary that we just did last week. So I will go over that in a slide coming up. I wanted to highlight 2 of the incentive programs that we offered. In November, we offered a program where members could sign up and get the first month free. We had 38 signups and 27 net gain on that month. We also launched in January of this year a half off to members that referred an additional member, and that resulted in 11 new memberships. So just some facts about the 2017 memberships. Right now we have 477 active members. We have approximately 156 Spaceship Company and Virgin members. We do have a partnership with them. We have approximately another 125 members that are airport members. So employees of the airport, not the airport, but the companies here on site. And we just learned, and I'll go over it in the next slide actually. Or the next one. So our starting income was around $8,000 in 2017. Our last income of 2018, in 2018 is about $10,000. We've had an overall increase of almost $2,000, but we have recently, over the past couple months, netted at least 15 new members, and we have tasked our staff to get at least 15 members a month. We did include some feedback about one of our staff individuals. One of the things I feel like Elevation has done a great job with is really reaching out to some of the companies here on site. We do go into Virgin's location and we do provide fitness assessments, lunch and learns, and other wellness incentives directly to their employees. And this was feedback that we got directly from them. And at the 1-year anniversary, which just happened last week, we had 71 total people participate or show up to the event. We had 21 non-members, and of those 21 non-members, 15 members signed up that day.
Wow.
13 at the event and 2 previous to the event. And out of the 20, we have a net of 26 members this month. 16 of them are from the airport. 2018, Karina and I's discussion last year was basically that the Elevation Corporate Health and the airport has a partnership, and we both are providing 2 different services to provide this amenity to the people here at Mojave Air and Spaceport. And we're requesting that everything stay equally the same as far as what is being provided, but Elevation is willing to continue our contribution to this effort, and we'll be including additional contribution to continue providing services on site. And go ahead.
So the one thing I wanted to highlight here, so Angela and I have, developed a great working relationship over the past year, and what I appreciate about her and her team are they're just a phone call away. If I have issues or request changes or anything like that, I just pick up the phone, call Angela, and we usually work through, some kind of a solution. Just to really be clear about what she's proposing here. So Elevation obviously pays for the staff, the benefits, the insurance, everything that goes with running the facility and staffing the facility, the classes, the education, the training, everything else. But they also do a lot of back office stuff in-house. So they'll do all the accounting and the legal stuff, everything else that goes along with running a business. What she's proposing here is that Elevation take on some of that internally, which means reducing our overall cost for the next year. So what we're currently paying, the 10,000 or so that we're currently subsidizing, that would reduce to about 7,000 a month.
If everything stayed the same.
Right.
Because of over the past quarter, we have continued to grow the membership exponentially, I'll say. We did have a slower start. It did take us a few months to come out from the other providers. So we feel really confident with where we're at with our membership. And we have continued to grow over the past couple months. So I feel like people know that we're here now.
I know of 2 of your members who actually work in Tehachapi.
Oh, so great.
And they go every day.
Yes.
Yeah. Every day.
Yeah, I'm just curious, your comment. Do they work on base and
No.
they come through, or they
No,
just come down
they
here?
work in Tehachapi at
They drive down here.
Sierra, whatever it's called. It's an aviation,
Airstream?
no,
The engine?
yeah,
That's
the
okay.
people
I
that
was
are
just
making the
interested in
drone.
what- If they
Yeah.
were based there and passing through on their way.
They actually live in Roseman, they live in Tehachapi, and they come to Mojave to work out. That's right, pretty cool.
So there's nothing for the board to take action on, but I asked Angela to come here in person because this has been a topic that we've been discussing now for a few months. And if the board has any questions for Angela or, want to express any comments or concerns, ideas, anything like that.
We really need to reach out to the school district. We have over 300 employees.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of our members, if any, but I mean, that's 300 and some people to pick from.
We do have school employees, and that is one of our efforts for 2018. We have tried to get in and speak with them, but we haven't been successful yet. But now that we have members that are participating in the programs, it's word of mouth is starting to get us in the door there.
We
Talk to Susie
possibly
Clifford.
have a staff appreciation luncheon coming up.
Okay.
It'd be a great time for you guys to come out and get all 300 employees at the same day.
We would love to do that.
Excellent.
Questions?
So I think we'll discuss this,
Sure.
probably, we'll have a budget workshop coming up here, possibly later this month, and we'll probably discuss this as well, because it is a budget item for us to consider, and then we'll just kind of stay in touch unless David, do you have any other?
Questions, but thank you very much. Appreciate
Yes,
it.
thank you for your time, I
Talking to
appreciate it.
us.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
It's a real asset, truly is.
That's all I've got for the CEO report.
You guys don't do childcare, do you? That's the other benefit we need to provide.
No, we don't.
We have no board committees. Are there any director comments?
You know, one thing, I just, and I mentioned this before, is I love the fact that we have the sidewalk now coming up off of Belsham to the airport, but it kind of leads you to nowhere. I would really like to work at some sort of path, maybe if it's just painted crosswalks to go across Roper. And I still think there's a way, maybe without a lot of money, to do an asphalt walkway with painted, I don't think it has to be in concrete. I know there's some issues there on the south side of Salvage, but I'd really like to see it tie into this one here. I'm seeing more and more people riding bikes and walking, and it just seems like it takes you to nowhere.
This sidewalk over here gets a lot of traffic.
Sure.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Every day at
just-
lunch, you see people making their rounds, and it's good to see. Everybody goes out to the airplane, makes a U-turn, comes back for lunch.
We also put in a dirt walking path on Brickadini, and there's a lot of people from the spaceship company and Stratalanche that use that every day just for exercise. So yes, I completely agree with you. We have a lot of challenges in Savage because of the way, on the north side, the buildings come too close to the road, so that's
Right.
out. And on the south side, there's a lot of utilities. So we just have to come up with some solutions on how we can create a sidewalk. How do we-
Safely, that's
Yeah.
the
Overhead.
Overhead. Take a dump.
Not a bad idea, actually.
Coach out there by the big airplane, that attracts a few people.
High-speed
Then they
walkway.
can go over to the gym and work it up.
Valentine's high-speed walkway.
We have a taco truck come to the site, to the airport every day.
Good.
Yeah, I think just about,
Good.
there are different locations.
I was talking to Maria Elena, we had breakfast really nice the other day with her at the Lemon Leaf, and I guess they're coming up there 3 or 4 times a week.
3 times a week.
Yeah.
All right, if there's no other director comments, then is there any public comment for an item not on the agenda? All right, being none, thank you everybody for your attendance. We move to closed session.
Out at the Mojave Air and Spaceport, crews are working on repainting the static aircraft. Today it's a little bit rainy and blowy, but their goal is to repaint the striping, spruce it up, and put on it Mojave Air and Spaceport additional information.